One of the biggest things I've noticed through understanding the suites as a business model and understanding the tenants is like trust and almost like the vibe of you guys is what's making them sign leases. Like just being a face on camera is marginally cheaper to acquire a client for all of us. We need to advertise this like it's the Uber of the hair industry. Like no one wants the slow taxi where they wait, hold their hand up. They want to pick where they're going. They want to do it right now. And they want to pay right now. All right, so we're gonna talk about a couple of things today. First is gonna be social media from how you all probably have seen Jason. Then we're gonna tie it back to how you all are as partners. And then at the end, I'm just gonna be as transparent as possible about how we're using AI, and I want everyone to kind of pick my brain on where we can do that better. So to start off, I met Jason through a DM. I was starting my company and messaging a bunch of business owners, and he was one of them. And so we started talking. I think when we first started, it was on like 1 or 2 Real Producers franchises. And I think, to be honest, Jason was a little tapped out at that point, and it wasn't really the service I was proud of or had fully built in my company. But we stayed Facebook friends, and I think it was a storage unit I saw you buy. And I was like, man, getting into real estate investing now. Then I saw the suites concept pop up, and I was like, man, that's like completely different than what I remember this guy doing. We started talking again, and I remember at that time, one of your big ideas was like, hey, this first one's going well. Like, I'm probably partner with people. And so we started talking more, and you kind of were like, I want to find the right partners. And my suggestion was just put out the right content. They'll see it. They'll follow. And so I think it's cool to see this room right now. Like, I'm assuming everyone in here has seen one or multiple of Jason's videos on Facebook, Instagram, somewhere. The reason I say that is that's on the like partner B2B side, but one of the biggest things I've noticed through understanding the suites as a business model and understanding the tenants is like trust and almost like the vibe of you guys is what's making them sign leases. And so as everyone in this room, I think we did a call, 2 or 3 months ago, where I jumped on to talk about like why to film content. Mm-hmm. Just to give everyone an idea, like we're running ads in every market where it's basically like before they launch, it's like very light. Hey, this is coming soon. It'll be here this month. And then we retarget them once it's open with client testimonials and actual offer videos. We've tested carousel images. We've tested static images. We've tested videos of the facility and selfie videos of Jason. Jason's video, I think, for Moline right now is getting about $6 to $7 to start a conversation through meta ads. The photo post is like $82. So if we think about that, like just being a face on camera is marginally cheaper to acquire a client for all of us. And I say that to almost set the bar like a little bit lower, that after talking to the Salon Lofts owner, like the videos that are doing well are very like bro real estate vibe. We're talking about the parking lot. It's a great decision for your business. We're talking about how this is like business ownership. And so the reason we did a lot of that is because we knew that ownership was an unfair advantage over like a Phoenix or a Salon Lofts. But we were still thinking too in our own head of what ownership they cared about. And when we talked to this lady who I believe her head role was like senior vice president or COO. So she was there for most of the growth. And her hesitation with being honest with us was that she was in a very feminine industry and we were kind of like asking business bro questions. And at one point she was just kind of like, what are most of your tenants like? And we're like, beauty professionals. And she's like, okay, do you think you're talking to them about what they care about? And then I immediately in my stomach was like, no, we're doing the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I know we're doing the wrong thing. And I know we're about to get called out. And she described that most of these tenants, there's basically this analogy of they were either the popular pretty girl in high school or they weren't. And now their whole life's income is made getting everyone else to be the pretty girl. And so if you think about that behavior, they didn't go to college, so they're not slow. And they also don't have the risk aversion that most people are trained with. So they're actually more willing to jump quick and do the right thing if they feel, like keyword, feel it's the right thing. Not if the numbers are always making sense, not if it's the perfect square footage, if they walk in and can like see their own business. So then this was like the really cool part of how AI tied into the ads. On, I think it was Moline, because that's one we've been running the ads on the longest. AI has this new thing where it will generate ads for you. Only images, not video yet. and it works off your best performing ad. So I think it was like a B-roll video of one of the finished Davenport suites saying like this could be yours, and then it transitions to a couple of the finished ones. So it goes from like empty suite to finished one. And when I had Meta's AI regenerate it, it literally just made a woman of every race sitting in a chair. And so Meta's all knowing. They have all the data on all of us. And the thing that they saw would lower our ad cost and pay them more money was just showing one of every woman in the chair. And so that was kind of like this moment for me of like, man, we're going so hard on copy, hooks, what to say. And we're not realizing that these women just want to see themselves in the suite. And it's like, it's really that simple. And so when I thought about that, I was like, you know, the arsenal this room has is the real estate, the finance, and talking about a potential exit. Whereas like most of these women have probably not paid their taxes for 2 years, and they're just hoping that the person comes in today and pays for the haircut and gives a good tip. So I think that's where it showed me that on the marketing and acquisition side, I think just owning the building and giving them a better customer experience is good. But where I genuinely got excited talking to the Salon Lofts lady was that there's a real enterprise value in us giving them real simple solutions, like just setting up a booking link for them and owning it, that make it very hard to leave the suites. And I made kind of like the joke about culture the other day, where it's like we want the building itself to have its own vibe. And I think you were the one that brought up having the tenant be there for walkthroughs. But I think at all of the locations, what's going to happen is there's going to be a community vibe. And I think this is honestly something I want the group's feedback on. I want to track that. I know that's not going to be a number. It's going to be more of a feeling. But when Lisa, the one who was a Salon Loft, was talking to us, she was talking about they did Christmas parties when they were full. I think in Columbus, she was saying she would get 20 plus locations to have the same Christmas party. And she was like, it was very hard to lose people when you have that going on. And then the culture parameter I joked about with Jason was, if the suites suck, they're too expensive, people should still not want to leave because they like who all the other businesses are. And they feel like that's where they're at. So from a culture parameter, I guess I want open feedback, because like in my head, I've been so into ads like features, price, thinking like a landlord. What do you all think might be the missing gaps when we think of like, what's the experience we're not showing? And I know it's harder for you guys who don't have a location open yet, but maybe like, Evan, I know you've got a friend doing a similar business model in Milwaukee. Like for everyone here, like I think that's too much. Like that puts you in a situation where now when someone isn't a tenant, oh, well, you're not coming to the kid's birthday. I think it's a lot, but I do think that showed something, which is maybe we're tracking who the most friendly tenant is. Maybe it's one of those things where every quarter we're just looking at like who shows up the most. Like I'm sure with Butterfly, we can get some sort of data on like who's actually there the longest. And then I think that's something where either Jason and the partner, or maybe Christina and the partner, are kind of having a Zoom call with that person every 6 months, 3 months of like, what can we do to keep the culture better here? Because I don't think it's scalable to have a best friend per location. So this is like honestly where the conversation with Jason and I got overwhelming at dinner last night. We're like, let's wait till tomorrow. It's because we realized talking to Lisa, it's like the role we don't have, right? I made a joke that if this is a basketball team, we're all power forwards and centers grabbing rebounds and like playing defense, but like we don't have like the agile shooting guard that understands hair, deeply understands hair. And it was funny, like, and this is kind of where I want to bring it back to social media. I do work with a lady who has a hair education course, has her own salon that she's ran for 20 years, and like she is loaded. She just built like a $1.4 million house. It was her money, not her husband's. And I didn't even think until that call with Lisa, why have I not connected her to Jason? And the reason I actually only made the connection was Lisa was going, you know, these women, they're party women. They make a lot of money, but they want to have fun. And as Lisa said that, Kate, my other client, texted me and goes, hey, do you want to come out on the boat this weekend? We're doing this for Labor Day.
Fuck yeah.
And there was kind of this, yeah. And there was this moment where I realized, like, you know, I think our strength in this room is we're all close to the same character. We all have our unique strengths. But if we do like a zoom out in the hair industry, this is like the real estate financy room. And so I think just having others with a completely separate opinion would be valuable. And I'm not saying like partner today, but just in this room, how many of us feel like there is probably like a female that has some sort of business that would do well in the suites that we've never even thought about like bringing into a room like this? Like I know for me, at least I have like 5. I was very nervous for this call with Lisa. Like genuinely, like when Jason invited me, it was one of those, I'm like, I have to say yes. Like this is a good opportunity. Don't say no. And on that call, like halfway through, that was kind of a moment where I realized even she was like excited by it because it is a new opportunity, and none of those big companies really did the owning part of it. And like a big thing that so I've been reading, who's been reading $100 Million Money Models by Hermosi? Anyone? So like the first chapter is basically about like how to squeeze all the milk out of the cow in the same opportunity. And when I thought on that, like the feeling, right? Like if we look at the sweets from afar, it's real crispy, but it's white and black. And if you walk into a suite, it's white and black. And a lot of these people, yes, you might get the walkthroughs where it's like, this is $15 more or less, and it causes like a beef. But most of these women, if we were to say, or men for that matter, hey, this could fully be your suite. We do offer this option where you can pre-design it so that before you move in, we can have painters come in, we can have this color on the wall, all this stuff. And that's additional revenue that the Suites is now making. It really doing something that they probably all want anyways. And then if you start thinking about like all the other little things that we're not making money on, it's just stuff that makes it more of their own suite. Right? Like if we're going to spend, like what's an average construction budget to get one up and running?
What, like a suite inside of it?
No, I'm saying like the whole facility. We're talking like 50K, 100K to like fully build out. So in my head, I was just, as I think through this, it's like, is it really a labor risk to not offer these things to the tenants where they can have more feel, creativity up front? Because in my head, it's like there are a lot of areas they would probably spend more money that we're not thinking of. Because like one of the things that I think we fall into the trap of is like, yes, they own an LLC. We all say they're business owners, but they're not. They're renting. Like, let's be very honest, they're renting and they want most things done for them. And so I do agree there will be a line that has to get crossed where it's like, that's not what the Suites does. But I do think just while we're in this room and masterminding, I would be very curious of like, where do we all think we're not offering a solution that would genuinely, like on paper, show more profitability. So the reason I brought a lot of that up is I think I'm just curious for all of you, like what are the things when you think from a feel perspective? Because this ties into marketing, what we show in the ads, this ties into what the organic content is, but it also ties back to the sales process, which is when they come in, drastically shortening that. Because when I went into the system side, like that's the other thing that Jason and I have been working on, we had like a really slow, boring acquisition process. It was like they apply for a walkthrough, they ask 40 questions that are all fear-based. Another big theme that came out of the call with Lisa that ties into this is turning our ownership into marketing. It wasn't her idea, it was actually what the GPT said as like a missed money opportunity that none of us brought up. So like every day or other day we get these emails where it's like, hey, there's a weed in the parking lot, pull it. Something's wrong, fix it. And it was saying that if we actually use that as our marketing, it's something that salon lofts in Phoenix can actually not compete with at all. And we track how long it takes something to get fixed. And I also think that ties into like the client feedback form. So if we have a monthly or bi-monthly, however often, tenant feedback form and cut out all the bullshit questions of like, how are you liking it? Is it good? Be like, is anyone bothering you in the building? Is there like, not cattiness, but is there cattiness in the building? Like, do you like the other tenants in here? Yeah. And if we get that feedback, I think that's probably the least scalable part of this business, but the most important, which is like, if they're going to be easier to close and faster on the sales side, we have to pay for that cost on retention. And I think that's just the pendulum we're going to get into with this. Lisa was just basically saying that these people want to sign now.
Yeah,
and
very impulsive.
Yeah, and like as I've been building out, like what is our acquisition funnel, like what is automated so that at 400, suites, it's no stressful than 40. And it was basically like just when I looked at how software worked, everything from applying to scheduling walkthrough to even signing the lease, like the most manual part of that should be the walkthrough person and the potential tenant going, hey, pull that DocuSign up or pull that agreement up. Yeah, your business name goes here. Your signature is here, and you'll get your login code in 24 hours. Because like, an example I told Jason is like, we just got our first house. My fiance loves design. And like the second we were in the house, she wanted to start designing. It was like 6 p.m. She stayed up till 3 a.m. that morning. And I think if we're honest about like what this sales process should be like emotionally, it should be like, this is exclusive. So I'm applying. They put a little skin in the game with like a $25, $50 application fee. They're excited for the walkthrough. They're not debating on skipping it because it's free. They get there, they do the walkthrough, they envision it, and then right on the spot, it's like, do you want to make this yours? And I think we all need to be honest with ourselves. Like, they're not thinking about their budget. None of these people are going to go home and pull up any spreadsheet. They're not going to log into their bank account. They're just going to hope that when they apply, it goes through. And so I think just giving them the option to do that right then and there also ties back into the marketing, where it's like there should be a picture taken of that person. Hey, guess who's just running out Suite 11? That should then plug right back into the ads. I should get a notification, hey, new creative is ready. Put that back into the ads, and then it becomes this self-sustaining system where it's like, yes, we're going to work to advertise and show other things on the front end to get people in the first time. But then we want every new tenant to be marketing the next, so that like as we get that win, and that too, I think speed to success for them is also important, right? Like if they're getting that code to the door in the first 24 hours, they're immediately starting on, here's what I want it to be designed like. It's also, hey, you don't have to miss making money as long, because I think for them, like a lot of times we've noticed these people are like, yeah, my lease is up in 2 months. So they're already like thinking about who are my clients that get cut that first week, that second week. And they're already doing the schedule game of like, how do I play it? And I think the more we can make a system that doesn't interfere with that, we should. And then to like confirm that this thought was even productive, Jason and I wrote like 6 months of emails for him yesterday, all based off Lisa's conversation. We're telling him to write like Cardone, Hermosi, all these people. And one of the emails it wrote was that we need to advertise this like it's the Uber of the hair industry. Like no one wants the slow taxi where they wait, hold their hand up. They want to pick where they're going. They want to do it right now, and they want to pay it right now. And so I think if we let the automated system actually be that, it should take this whole process way down. And I forget who said it, but it should be like, it should go from step 2 to 10, maybe in the same day. So I think that was just a moment for me that this new, faster process is better. But 2, I also think it's like way easier for us all to track with what could go wrong. Because like the thing that annoyed us the most about this was not that it was a no, it's that none of us could figure out why. And until I talked to Lisa, I was like, that's why. It's like you can't, like the analogy was like, you can't ask the pretty girl on a date 3 Fridays from now. Like it's got to be like, let's go tonight. And if we're doing this where they're also, thinking, all right, this is a step up for me, it's led back to like another messaging point, which is like, we need to also remember that this is an upgrade for their business, not just by looks, but like there's no reason for them to charge more. And so that's something that like, honestly, I'd like to spend more of my time talking on, is like how we can make this like actually outside of the 4 walls, like something that is very good for their business. So like a few of the things that we've come up with is, how many of you book your hair service, like using an app okay. What do you guys use? Do you know what the app is?
Everyone's different. I feel like I go through whatever website.
Okay, so I'll do more research, but Vagaro seems to be the most, I would say, popular bet on like winning horse, in my opinion. And one of the things Lisa was saying is that Salon Lofts had a lot of those like money model things that weren't just like design a room, but like, hey, we have a booking link for you. Oh, you want to boost your hair coloring service? If it costs $75 in the app, we'll do it for $150. And just finding all these little things that they're all going to need. But then on the back end, we're also owning the data. Like that's the one thing that like I get excited about, is like if we're going to have all these locations, like we want data on every tenant, not just like did they pay on time, but like what are their clients paying? Like what is their churn rate on their clientele? Because the more we know that, like we really know what our asset is, because then we can offer to make ourselves more money helping them. But then 2, that also like we're going to see churn 6 months before renewal happens. Where it's like, yeah, that person used to do like 5 cuts a Thursday. Now it's like 1. And that's where like for property management side, that's info for you to come in and be like, hey, where do you actually need help? Is there something we can do? Is there something there? So for all of you, what are the things that these types of tenants are going to need, even if you don't think we could render it? Like just thinking out loud. Like for me, a lot of it went to marketing, so that's just what I do. But I also feel like are they responsible for cleaning their own suite? Is that something we do? Like, I think the challenge that I would be really proud of myself to look back on and say, like, we thought differently than Salon Lofts in these companies is like, how do we accomplish community without basically forcing someone to be a weird corporate friend to everyone, and also like do it in a scalable way to where it is copy and pasteable, but it can be unique to market. Like, that's how I look at this. Like, I think it should be trackable. I think we should know, like, these are the playbook of events if we want things to go well. But I also think we need to be careful of, like, I think, Evan, that's kind of like a blessing that you know that girl, because it's like, that's an example of the other direction too far. I think a learning moment from her is like, she is building community. Like, the events are not owned. It sounds like she's letting the events be owned by, it's that kid's birthday party, I'm going to dinner with those people. Whereas like if we can own the event, have outside traffic come in, and maybe it just means we turn one ad on that month to the whole community, take off the job title targeting and just say, come to the suites for a day. I think that's a good play. I think this is where, like, for me, I just want everyone to be whiny and complaining for a second so that I can just understand it. Media capturing is like my biggest fear with partners, genuinely. Like, I think all of us in the room like can acknowledge that, other than Jason, I don't know how many people are actively like creating content in this room. We need to, if you're not going to be the one on camera, at least have the diligence or have someone in a location that is to capture, hey, the suite is now done. Like, you're going to get notified that they're up and running, but we still need to have that day where it's like, hey, everything just got decorated on Friday before their first haircut Monday at 1. Like, we need a picture of the finished suite. Because like that is the most critical piece for the advertising. That's I don't care how it happens. Just from my perspective, I want everyone to know like that is a fear, and especially when we think of like who are new partners. Like, I think if there's any resistance to participate in that, like to me that's a huge red flag. Like, we want someone that, yes, I understand it's an investment, but if they're not excited enough to even like have the story told, like that is a risk, because then the marketing relies on other locations. So everyone will be like, why is Johnston using all of Davenport? And it's like, we want it to be like, yes, we'll use some brand assets that are from the original ones. But like at the end of the day, like if it's Milwaukee or whatever city, like we want that city to advertise that city and those tenants in that building to advertise that city. Like the playing the game of like graphics and letting Meta do the AI girl in chairs, it's good, it works, but it's definitely not like gonna be what makes us stand out. So this is something I think we need to like understand from like idea great delivery is where we've been making the same mistake. It's not if you want this. It's like that is our biggest mistake right now. This is a luxury brand.
Got it.
We are giving you the opportunity. If you don't want it, we need to know right now.
Perfect.
Because like, let's be honest, how many times is Salon Loft saying, hey, we have an undefined amount of media posts we'll give you. Hit the Pez dispenser every time you want a new reel. Like, they aren't doing that. But if we come in and act like that's something we're going to do, they either don't trust it, that seems too good to be true, or it's like, why are they offering that for free?
Yep.
It shows like a need. Whereas like if we're on the inverse, where it's like, hey, we want to highlight the best suites in this building. You were picked. We want to do a video.
Well done. Yep.
Yeah, because you're right.
Yep.
It does need to be shown and it does need to be celebrated. But I think like even in how I wrote the copy on the Facebook ads when we started, it was such a pick me, please rent here. And you have to think like this should be something that they're proud as can be. And like when they have that catty rivalry, they want to be like, yeah, I'm at the suites, they aren't. Like genuinely, that is the vibe we want these people to have is like, yeah, I'm now at the better place. And the better place doesn't say, we'd love to have you here. Like, do it right now. That place goes, all right, well, if you're interested, you can sign today. And I think that was the big thing that I am trying to push is like, I want to be the crazy idea guy and you all be logistical selfishly. Like, I'd rather just throw those out. Evan make like a fair point where it's like, hey, this is logistically something to track. And especially after where you guys were with most of it being construction stress, like that's a good thing to feel. But what I want to do for my role is like, I want to see what like the best things we can take from the Phoenix Salon, all those are, and then run it through the automations. And then I understand you're all going to deal with the real world repercussions of that and just tell me earlier so that as I'm building these systems, it's almost built in to know, like, maybe it's a timeline window. Hey, you can get all this paint, but you have to tell us every single thing you want. Okay, so let me bring this up because this is actually one of the things I wrote down before. So one of the, like, people assets, that's, like, something that I look at pretty heavily as, like, a guy who runs a social media company. I think one from the internal group, I want to just say one more time while that's recording. I want all of us, like, after this, before the next session, to, like, go in our Facebook or wherever the contact is and, like, make the introduction to Jason of whoever the potential like females are that are potential. Now, I'm not saying like they're a partner, just that you think it would be beneficial to talk to Jason on. That's one. Two, I think in each market, and this is something I want to do for maybe everyone hasn't opened yet, I want a Google Doc or a Google Sheet with all of the preferred contractor list. So like I want 4 painters where it's like, this guy will do it for beer money. This guy's expensive, but he has a great company. And we actually like make an internal roster so that like, you're right. These are friction points. I think it starts with the people, right? Like it starts with having that organized per market to where like that is something that, yes, if we're going to recruit tenants, that's obviously what makes the payments come in, you know, everyone sleep at night. But on the inverse, it's also like we should have a little reserve where it's like, hey, even if it's just followed on Facebook, where it's like, these are the people that come in and paint the walls if we need it. These are the people that like if the cleaning company that does the hallways shits the bed or that cleaner moves towns, we have 2 other cleaners in reserve. Like I genuinely think as a people asset, that's something that I was just writing in my notes that I wanted to bring up to everyone because I think that's going to be very important, especially when we pick locations. And that's where the original idea. So we actually had this running as an ad,
Okay.
and I think we didn't have this built. I think that works again. And it shouldn't be in the front facing ad. It should be where he's saying right at the finish line. Like you said with the equity, say your last bullet, like that is probably the strongest last bullet of like if they're maybe, it's like, well, and then I think one last thing I wanted to just leave open, but I'm curious because this is more my personal feedback for Jason. What did you guys think of the suites from afar versus what you know it is now so that I can also help Jason better market just himself, like online? Like what did you guys hear the first time in your head, or maybe how'd you tell your wife or a buddy about it? And then what would you describe it as today? And so this ties to like you guys have this Friday. One of the things that I was like very hard on is like I don't really care the questions that you guys ask for testimonial. They just can't be gunshot to the head testimonials. Like we don't want I love the suites because Jason paid me to be here today. Huh? Like what we want is like the hard questions, like you're saying. What were you nervous about when you first moved in? Like what did suck? What has been great? And like get that real feedback because that I promise that's going to perform better as an ad. All right, so everyone. Take like a 30-second break, get on your phone right now, and find that one female you guys thought of when I said that, and just do a very brief Facebook message intro. Hey, this is Jason. He has an opportunity I think you should talk about. Just everyone send a quick message, and then once everyone has sent it, I'm going to read you guys what ChatGPT responded of the blind spots that we had from Lisa. I'm saying we need a female to understand what this model is and give feedback. Yes, I agree with you fully on tenants. But I think all of us in the room here, when I said that about there are females we know that we're not even thinking to have in this room, like everyone just send that message real quick. Hey, this is Jason. I want you to talk to him. Just we'll see where it goes. I'm just going to give everyone 30 seconds on that, and then I'm going to do my last part here to wrap up. Someone that you think has either real estate or actual salon knowledge that maybe just in your head you think it could be a partner in the future. Not necessarily because they will, but because Jason having that conversation with them is going to show us so many things we're not thinking about. And it's going to give us all a lot of feedback of like, oh, yeah, like we're not. Like when Jason and I did this call, like this is how I imagined it going. I'm going to ask some great questions. She's going to compliment us. It's going to be like immediate feedback. And like right when the call started, immediately I was like, man, like we are blind as bats. Like there are a lot of things she's seeing that like we're not. And that's why I think it was so helpful, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Because then there were some things we said to her where like I was in, the nervous part of me is like, oh, she's going to think this is dumb and stupid. And she wasn't. She was like, wow, this is a cool model. This is exciting.